Okay,
I did unmute.
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you?
I'm good. I heard you all talking about the COVID vaccines and all.
Yeah, that's all we talk about anymore.
Had my shots. I didn't have any reaction either.
Good.
Sorry, you all did. Some of you did. I know Martha had said.
Well, sometimes they say if you've had COVID, you've already built up antibodies. So when you get that vaccine, your body's like, attack.
Yes, exactly.
You feel like you...
That's what my doctor told me. He said it was actually a very good sign that I had a reaction.
Oh. I know, and I didn't, so I'm wondering, oh no.
I'm sure you're fine.
I know, I just got to have something to worry about.
Exactly.
Hi, Ruth. And I see Paul's name. Paul, I thought you were not going to be able to be here today. You can, everybody comes in.
I made it.
You made it. Good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Marina.
Hi.
Is your dad going to join us?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We've got Sharon Miller and Susan.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Good.
Got some folks interested in travel.
Very timely group too. I love it. On time,
Yes.
ready to go. Look at this.
Our life questers are really good. So
Well, we've also noticed that people skate in right at the last minute because they don't have to drive here to find a parking place.
My sales team thinks the same thing, and I've tried to explain to them that's not how it works. You still got to be here early.
that's right. That's right.
I know we will have, and here's Kathy. She's coming in. There's Lily.
I know Lily is vaccinated. She's probably ready to go too.
Kathy, you made it. I thought you were not going to be with us today. You made it, Kathy Jones.
I did. I may have to toggle between two meetings.
Okay.
Hey, we
Amazing when you have
understand
two conflicting Zoom meetings at the same time.
Yeah, that's how savvy our folks are.
I'm just impressed, yes, that she knows how to do that.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I know we have some folks that are planning to watch this recording on Facebook. We may have some folks on Facebook Live. I'll check my phone and look for that.
Okay. Well, we are live on Facebook. We've got about one more minute. Oh, no, it's 12. We've still got a few people coming in. All right. Well, guys, we want to thank you for joining us, and I've got Kenny Judd here with us today. He's going to answer all of our questions and solve all the world's problems moving forward. So he works for Colette, and he is one that we have partnered with. I do see some past travelers in here. So Kenny is, I think before, Jeff Woods is the one that did the presentation, and Kenny has worked with Jeff for a few years. And so anyway, we have the honor of having Kenny here today. So Kenny, I'm going to ask you to first start off with the number one question, Colette and COVID and how that's operating right now. And then I'll let you get into our Greece trip.
Absolutely. I too have my first vaccination, so I'm very excited about that. I'll be getting my second one here in a couple of weeks, so I know we're all excited about that. You know, the elephant in the room is, what is Colette doing? How are we going to operate tours? First of all, great news. Greece has already come out and said May 1st, they're opening up for tourism. So this tour, it's going to go, and we're excited about that. We've also greenlit some tours domestically that we're starting off in April and May. So just from a travel perspective, what we're anticipating seeing is, you know, April slowly getting off the ground because a lot of people have at least been vaccinated or had the access. By May, according to President Biden, you know, if you want the vaccine, you can get it. And so at that point, what we're expecting is through the summer, domestic to really pick up, and then late summer, international to take off, specifically Europe. And the reason is they're about 6 weeks behind us from a vaccination standpoint. They had to build some facilities to store, you know, the vaccine. It has to be at certain temperatures, all of those wonderful things. So we're expecting the EU to kind of late summer, early fall to really kind of get back to opening up their borders. Obviously, there's going to be some restrictions, and we understand that. Number one, right out of the gates, we're not going to run a tour if, for instance, this classical Greece, which is a lot outdoors, so I'm not too concerned about it. But if there's a bunch of museums or restaurants or things indoors that we can't see or have access to, we're not going to operate that tour. So I don't want you to ever have to worry about, well, if I sign up and I can't, go to the Acropolis, or if I can't do those things, we're going to make sure that we are delivering on the expectations that we have set for this tour. So that's number one. Number two, there's a lot of companies out there that are kind of scrambling around. How are we going to operate tours? What are our protocols going to be? What are our mandates going to be? Just to put it in perspective, we are the first tour operator that started operating tours last summer. We actually ran 40 departures. We had protocols and mandates set in place. We had 0 cases. We had come back with a 100% satisfaction rate, and we had a 92% satisfaction rate and a, hey, would you travel again with us? And that's something that we understand across the board. We want to make sure that we're delivering the experience, and we were able to do that. So a lot of companies are creating protocols and mandates. We're already executing them. So from a travel perspective, you're never going to have to worry about, how's Colette going to handle this? Our tour managers are experts on all of the locations, COVID protocols, mandates across the board. We'll continue to do education and training. For the time being, of course, we are operating under the social distance. So we're only we're leaving about 35% of our motor coaches open so people can social distance. We have masks indoors, on the motor coach. We're using restaurants with smaller tables. We're able to space out. I want to be very candid, though, as protocols get lifted and herd immunity and vaccinations kick in, we may or may not still be in line with those. It will be whenever the CDC, the government, and that state and country mandates. The good news is we're always going to be in line with all protocols. And one of the things that I've been saying about this, for somebody who travels as much as anyone, 2 years ago, I was on the road every week, sleeping in hotels, on airplanes, traveling all over the place. We are going to have the cleanest traveling experience that you've ever had. And quite frankly, I'm excited about that. New air filtrations, new protocols for the vendors, restaurants, motor coach, hotels, that is really going to be something moving forward that I'm really excited about. I think we needed that anyways, not that we wanted a pandemic to get us there. But for me, I've already started to notice that as I've traveled a little bit already. I walk in, I've got my remote is completely wiped down. I've got things all over the place telling me they've cleaned this, and there's a sticker on my door that I have to open that breaks to show it is freshly cleaned. And I can literally smell the Clorox and the Lysol and the things as I walk into the room. My wife is already OCD about that. So that's a smell I'm very accustomed and love when I walk into a door because I know it's clean. So that's kind of the experience that we're expecting moving forward. And again, Colette is always going to make sure that we're in line with that. And I think maybe the most important part, there's a lot of horror stories out there. And I never talk bad about any of my competitors. In fact, most of the competitors out there are my friends because they've worked at Colette or the travel industry is fairly small. So we kind of know everybody. But one of the biggest differences, our insurance, our cancellation, how we operate. There's a lot of horror stories out there about, well, I had to take a voucher. I couldn't get my money back. Colette refunded over $130 million last year in cash. So, we gave vouchers if they wanted them because we did have a lot of people say, hey, we know we're going to travel with you. Just roll it over. We'll take a voucher, whatever it is. But we refunded cash back to the client. We have not changed our policy. We are not going to change that. So worst case scenario, you don't want to go on this trip because whatever reason, you can cancel for any reason and get your money back. So you don't have to worry about that up until 24 hours before you depart. And I'll talk about some of those dates at the end of the presentation. But the biggest thing is, there's a lot of people coming out with no worries and worry free, or what we've already and have been doing that for 40 plus years. So when the pandemic hit, we didn't have to change our policies. It's how we operate. So a true peace of mind, you don't have to worry about. We've already got that covered for you. Yes, The pandemic is covered. Yes, quarantine is covered. Yes, anything medically on tour is covered. All of those wonderful questions through our insurance, you are covered for that. So you don't have to worry about anything along those lines. And so that's kind of the elephant in the room, what I would suggest is, as I go through this presentation, please feel free to type your questions into the chat room. I'll be happy to go in there and answer questions at the end. Lindy, Leah, if you know the answer and you want to type it in, that's great too. But if not, I'll go through and read every single question. And then we'll also open it up at the end so you can unmute and answer questions as well. So, I want to make sure everybody feels comfortable and all the questions are answered, especially, the more questions for those people who watch this on a recording, they would appreciate any questions you have because they probably have the same question. And we want to make sure that they get those answered as well. So, Lindy, Leah, are we ready to start the presentation?
We are, yes.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. All right, so my name is Kenny Judd. As we talked about, I'm the Director of Sales for Colette. I've been with Colette now 9 years. As of yesterday was my anniversary. My boss even called and sang me a little song. And it is something that, I have had these quotes up there for years. And, it's something that I think in the time of a pandemic and the time of things that were crazy, I got a lot of calls about, are you getting out of the travel industry? And are you going back to medical sales? And, you got to be hitting the road. There's no way you can stay in travel. And one of the things that I said, there's no way. First of all, I love travel. And travel is the first thing to end, but it's also the first thing to come back, right? And I knew without a doubt, travel is going to come back and it's going to come back in a big way. But the second part is I work for a company that I truly trust and believe in. And I knew that we were going to make the right decisions and do the right things. And we've come through with glowing accomplishments. We've been tons of articles about how we handled it, but all we did was do what was right for the customer. And we're going to continue to do that. And that's the great thing about working for a family owned and operated business. There's no board meetings. There's no, shareholders. It's a family that says, hey, this is the right thing to do. And so with that being said, I just returned from Greece. That was actually my last international trip. And I can tell you, I fell in love with the destination. I was not even a big fan of Greek food. And now it's like one of my favorite. I mean, Greek salad, I order it everywhere. So it is something that, the culinary experience and just the people in general. So the two quotes I have up there, the best book I've ever read is Between the Pages of My Passport. Without a doubt, I'm a small town kid from Oklahoma, one stop sign. I never thought in a million years I'd travel to over 40 countries and have the opportunities that I do. I am now in Arkansas and I live in Hot Springs because, well, it's just a lot prettier over here. So it is something that, I truly do love. I'm always an Okie at heart, but, travel is the only thing that can make you speechless, only to become a storyteller later. We're talking about a country who created democracy, the Olympic Games, the food, the unbelievable experiences. This is a perfect example of standing somewhere and thinking, wow, this is unbelievable. I truly don't know how to explain it. And then when you come home, everybody's asking you about it. So I love that quote. It's one of the reasons that I stay in travel. I'll continue to stay in travel. I really have found my passion, but more than anything, I have a company I trust and we deliver a good product. So we'll get started into the actual tour. We're going to be going November 7th to the 16th, my birthday. So you guys will be returning home on my birthday. We have 10 days, 15 meals. We have 8 breakfasts, 1 lunch, and 6 dinners that are included with some really, truly magical experiences. If you've never traveled with Colette, let me tell you a little bit about what we focus on. I'm very candid when I talk about tours and different companies and things. When you travel, you're going to roughly see similar things. Each tour operator, you're going to be able to see the Acropolis. You're going to be able to see, different things and the temples and all of those things. But really what we try to focus on is a 3 to 4 pillar situation that makes us different. Number one, making sure that we have the most inclusions in a truly 4-star guided experience. So we're going to make sure that we're in those 4-star hotels. We're not going to have a ton of options. You know, we do have a couple because we understand everybody wants to kind of make their own experience and have the ability to do that. But for the most part, we're going to have most things included, especially your dinners. That's the most expensive part of the meal. It's always confusing where to eat and what's good. And we don't want you online trying to look up Yelp ratings and all of that wonderful things. We're going to take care of that for you. You know, we really are the pioneers of choice on guided travel. So we've created a couple things that I'll talk about that's already included. You just choose what you do that day. You know, you really have the ability to customize your experience, and really focusing on the tour managers and the perfect tour pacing. Trying to eliminate a lot of those one-night stays, if at all possible. We understand you want 2 to 3 nights in a city. You can explore and really see some things. You know, those are things that we really want to focus on. Our tour managers truly are the best in the industry. They have a passion for what they do. I have been a tour manager. It is without a doubt the hardest job in travel. Trying to make 40 people happy with 40 different personalities can be a bit of a challenge. I have went back and apologized to many of my teachers for how I used to be as a student growing up. And sometimes it's kind of a little bit how guided travel is. And so they really do a great job of kind of being your half your concierge, but half your history professor to make sure that they're delivering the product that you want. So that's enough about Colette. We're going to dive into the actual tour itself. We'll have that overnight flight. We're going to go in and out of Athens. So we're going to get 3 nights in Athens, 2 on the front end. We're going to get 1 night in Kalambaka. We're going to get 1 night in Acropolis, 2 nights in Olympia. And then we're going to start making our way back to Athens as we arrive in Nafpilo. And then we'll finish up back in Athens. These are all very specific destinations. We're going to have the opportunity to stop off, you know, in Thermopylae and some of the different regions. But I can tell you throughout this, the drive, the scenery, the unbelievable history behind it is one of the reasons that I fell in love with Greece. I have a minor in history, but it just came to life for me when I was there. You know, all of a sudden I felt like I needed to join the Olympics. I mean, seeing that this is where it was created and what took place. So we'll have that overnight flight. We'll kind of get started here in Athens. We'll arrive in the morning. We'll get your bags. We'll make sure everything's taken care of. And then we're going to have a little bit, you know, learning about kind of that long history that dates back to the Neolithic age, you know, and it really does, to me, have some of the deepest history in all of the world. You'll have the opportunity to see the Acropolis, all the things that creates as well. And, you know, really kind of see what Athens' golden age really looked like. We'll give everybody the opportunity to come back. We're going to have a welcome dinner this evening. So you'll have the opportunity to get to know your tour manager, get to know some of your other travelers a little bit better. Day 3, we're going to have a panoramic tour, really showcasing some of the highlights in Athens, whether it be the ancient glorious monuments. We'll have the ability to see the Temple of Zeus, the Royal Palace, the Parliament, Olympic Stadium. You know, as we go through, it's just fascinating to me. And really what starts to jump out is how many different places have tried to replicate these unbelievable temples and the history behind it with some of their architecture. And then we're going to actually ascend the steep hill of Acropolis, which, you know, really is Greek for the highest city. That's what the Acropolis means. And it really was the religious center of ancient Athens. And the whole area, so you have the top, and the mountain is known as the Acropolis. And it's crowned right on the top by the Parthenon, which is considered really the pinnacle of classical Greek architecture. And so to still see it standing, walking around here, you know, I thought about putting some of my own pictures in there. Unfortunately, the day we were there, it was a little cloudy, had great weather, but I thought, our marketing team has a lot better pictures than mine. But I can tell you, I just love standing at the top of this, looking over the entire city. Just what a spectacular view of Athens. It was built in the 5th century BCE, and the Acropolis is dedicated to the goddess Athena, and it really exemplifies the glory of the city itself. So much history in the area, and really one of the most famous ancient archaeological sites in the world. And then this evening so we have the evening free. There's plenty of restaurants you can walk around. I had plenty of great meals throughout, but there is an option. This is a prepaid option if you're interested, and you can have kind of really experience Athens as a local. So we'll have a local guide take you on a walking tour of really highlighting all the different cuisines throughout Athens. And so you'll kind of make your way through these different neighborhoods here in the city with a lot of the hidden gems as far as the food, the local restaurants and the bakeries. We'll have the opportunity to go through the markets and sample some of the area's best culinary specialties and wine. We wouldn't take you there without having a little bit of wine. So on this particular tour, if you do choose this option, definitely wear some comfortable shoes as we'll walk through some of those markets. And then day 4, we're going to have the opportunity to start traveling north through central Greece to Thermopylae. And this is one of my favorites. You get to stop off and see the monument dedicated to Leonidas, who died defending the city against the Persians. Of course, many people know it as the 300, the Spartan 300 that took on the Persians and really defended their country as a whole. Many battles have been fought in this area. The most famous, of course, being the 300 battle here. And Leonidas was a Spartan king who is truly kind of a symbol of Greek heroism throughout. And in the afternoon, we'll actually have the opportunity to stop off and visit a local studio to see some of the painters at work, some of their unbelievable, beautiful icons, some of the images of the holy persons, and that really have some of the significant part of the Christian church since the 3rd century CE. And then we're going to enjoy your day, and we're going to stop off at a family-owned taverna and savor a little bit of a delicious meal with recipes passed down from generations. These are some of my favorite stops when you have the opportunity to go into locally family-owned, operated, true cooking experience, culinary. Listen, when I travel on tour, culinary is what I'm all about. There's no way I'm going on tour to lose weight. And so if I'm not going to lose weight, nobody else is either. But this is really one of the things that we want to make sure. It's not just about eating at the hotel every night. It's getting you out there to experience some of that local immersion, culinary experiences. The following day, we have a treat. We get to head over to Mitora, and this is a guided tour of 2 very remote monasteries that are situated in a very unique landscape. And that's because of the limestone rock, truly towers, if you will, that extend nearly 900 feet into the air. And so about 600 years ago, monks chose to build this community kind of on top, and they're very inaccessible rocks. And that was kind of the point and why they wanted to do that. The remote monasteries seem like kind of a direct line to the divine. And that's what people in the area kind of talk about. And so these cliffs are very, very popular, very famous, and were heralded as the place to kind of achieve true peace and harmony. And that's why, the monks wanted it to be inaccessible. If you were to come here, this is a place to kind of have that spiritual revelation, really thanks to the isolation that it provides. And of course, the monasteries and the monks who reside really have a lot of the history behind it, and the monastery and the communities built high right on these vertical rocks. It is truly spectacular. The pristine natural beauty is just breathtaking throughout. And today, Christians from all over the world make their holy pilgrimages here to these monasteries that really have become a preservation site for the last 2,000 years of old Christian Orthodox creed. And then we're going to continue over to Arafava, and this is a popular ski resort town with just breathtaking views surrounded by mountains and valleys, luscious green rolling hills. The villages itself kind of lies right on the slopes of Mount Parnassus, and this is very famous in the area. So we'll spend some time there learning about that. And then the following day, we're going to head out and visit the ancient city of Delphi. This is one of Greece's most important religious centers during classical times. The ancient Greeks considered Delphi the center of the world. So people would come from all over. This is one of the places that really brought home what this country was all about. We'll have a local expert actually take us on a guide through the sanctuary of Apollo, the Doric Temple, the ancient theater, and the Delphi Museum with its priceless collection of ancient artifacts. It was here, to say the center of the world, that the oracle was consulted to foretell the destiny of mankind. And so when you want to talk about the center of the world, this is where people would come. The Delphi theater itself was built in 4th century BC and actually can seat up to 5,000 people. But when you're talking about the center of the world, the oracle, what's going to happen to mankind, this is where it all took place. And then we're going to travel along the Gulf of Corinth. We'll have opportunity to make our way over to the historic city of Olympia. Really a true testament of the grandeur of the ancient Greek civilization, the beauty behind it. And we'll have the opportunity to stop off at a local farm in the countryside and actually get to meet the owners to learn about their everyday way of life. For me, this is one of my favorite things that we do when we travel. You know, there's no better way to immerse yourself in the culture than actually spend some time with the locals, their day-to-day life. You know, it's not all about tourism to these countries. You know, it is about a way of life, and we'll have the opportunity to kind of get to see what that looks like. Following the tour, we're going to have a little tasting of local wines, olive oil, homemade jams, marmalades, and sweets. And I can tell you, this is one of my favorite stops. The olive oil and the bread, the local wines, phenomenal. One of my favorite things. You know, it is one of those things that when you come back, you realize how unbelievably clean and fresh that the Greeks eat. And, you know, for me, here in the US, I don't think that we do it justice when you go to a Greek restaurant, because when you're over there, it is just some of the most delicious and fresh food that you've ever had. Day 7, we'll have a guided visit to ancient Olympia, which includes the tour of the sanctuary, of course, of Zeus. This is the Olympic Stadium where the first Olympic Games were held in 776 BC, and as well as the museum. And of course, these were the ancient Olympic Games, mainly included as part of kind of a religious festival in honor of the supreme god Zeus himself. And all the competing athletes were males, and the games really went on for about 12 centuries, each drawing in around 45,000 spectators. Again, all in honor of God Zeus and what that meant to the people. And then this evening, we're going to learn how to cook. So, you know, we've taken you to some restaurants. Now we're going to have a cooking experience here in the afternoon for a fantastic traditional Greek lunch, where you're going to learn some of the behind the scenes look. We'll have a cooking demonstration and learn some of the region's best dishes as we have the opportunity to have a wonderful lunch. And then in the evening, you can broaden your knowledge of traditional Greek musical instruments and folkloric dances at a delightful Greek dance class. So you might hear Opa a couple of times as we do a little bit of dancing. So tonight, everybody bring their dancing shoes. This is an unbelievable experience. The people are so full of enthusiasm and excitement. They do a phenomenal job of engaging you and really teaching you kind of the behind the scenes look at these wonderful dances. Day 8, we're going to have a spectacular scenery drive across the Arcadian Mountains. We're going to have the opportunity to head our way over to Mycenae. And Greek mythology claims that the son of Zeus, Perseus, founded Mycenae. And this is why that we're going to spend some time here. You know, it's located right on the hill between two of the other surrounding hills that you can kind of see there in the background. And it was, you know, once occupied, I would say, and has been occupied since around the 7th millennium BC. So most of the monuments that we see today were actually constructed anywhere between 1350 to 1200 BC, you know, really during the later part of the Bronze Age, as it was known. And to me, it's just fascinating to see how unbelievable some of this architecture, the monuments, how they have stood the test of time. You know, I always make the joke that when I drive on I-40, you know, I'm constantly, you know, seeing construction, they're redoing. And you go to some of these areas and you can see that these architecture and the way that they did things can stand the test of time. It's truly fascinating to me. Here we'll have a guided tour. We'll actually get to visit the excavations featuring the Beehive Tombs. And these were developed during the later part of the Bronze Age and were typically placed underground. And the name Beehive Tombs kind of comes from the main burial chamber that has kind of vaulted domes and shapes at the top. And it looks like a beehive. That's where it comes from. And they're really tombs only able to be used by powerful leaders due to the great amount of work and effort that goes into creating them. And so this was, you know, kind of their way of almost the ancient Egyptians and the pyramids. This is kind of their construction of that because they were such a task to put together. You'll also be able to see Lion's Gate. This is the main entrance into the city itself. And notice that the two lions right up at the top, they're kind of carved into the stone above. And so that gives you the entrance into the city. And then we're going to stop off at Nafpilo. And this is the Neolithic period town. It was known as a bustling port due to its location. And it was the first capital of Greece that most people don't realize. Beautiful seaside town. Following morning, we're going to enjoy a little bit of free time so you can explore the city out on your own in the beautiful seaside town before we head back to Athens on our way back in. And you'll be able to see various styles of the area kind of as you just walk through the town and see the area. This is a great area to do some of your shopping. I usually tell people, you know, if you're going to do any of that retail therapy, you always want to wait towards the end of the trip so you don't have to haul it around with you. This is a great opportunity for you to do that or just walk along the beautiful coastline here. And then we're going to arrive back in Athens and we will celebrate the end of truly a magical trip to Greece with a fantastic farewell dinner. We'll toast to everybody coming back as I know that you will want to return as quickly as possible. Again, Greece, one of my favorite countries in all the world. At the very beginning of my slide, I actually have that in there because I fell in love with it so much. As always, you don't have to worry about any of your, arrival. We're going to get you to and from the hotel, take you throughout, nothing to worry about. And of course, if you're interested in elite airfare, dining experience, if you would like to go in early to Athens or stay in later, we can make those arrangements for you. Or if you're interested in upgrading your air. And I talked about it at the very beginning, but of course, there's the no worries travel protection plan. We used to call this our bad hair day policy. I'm kind of considering changing it to something a little bit more relevant to today's times, but we haven't had to change our policy. And this allows you to cancel for any reason up until 24 hours before you depart and receive a full cash refund. Of course, less the insurance itself, but we're even going to give you a date that allows you to get that insurance back as well. The other big question is, am I covered on tour? Most travel insurances did not cover you on tour for a pandemic. We do. So you are completely covered on tour for medical assistance, evacuation, lost baggage, which has never happened to anybody in the history of airline travel. But if you're the first to lose your bag, don't worry, we got you covered through the insurance. I lost my bag once for an entire week on a river cruise. Great news, I was covered through insurance. I came back with a whole new wardrobe. Of course, if you have traveled with us, we understand 2020 was a little bit of a disaster. So if you travel with us in 2019, we're going to roll that over to this particular tour. So if you traveled in 2019, we're going to give you an additional $150 off on this tour. If you traveled in 2018, we're going to give you $100 off. If this is your first tour to travel with Colette and LifeQuest, all you have to do is sign up. The next tour, if you travel within 12 months, you'll get an additional $150 off. If you travel within 2 years, you're going to get $100 off, and you do not have to do anything. We'll automatically take it off your final payment. You will need a passport for this trip, so please make sure it's up to date within 8 months of your return. I just renewed not only my passport, but also my global entry. You will not need a visa for that, so don't worry about that. This is a passport only. You cannot use your driver's license, so please make sure if you don't have a passport or you need to get it updated, you do that now so you have plenty of time before this trip departs. The other thing is, and I'll put this link in the chat once we're done, if you want more information, we have a lot of detailed information as far as weather and trips and cancellation, anything that you want to know about this tour. You can go to this web link that is specifically created for this tour. And you can even sign up on the actual website itself. You click that sign up now button, but you type in that website, which I'll put in the chat room. So if you're interested, you just click on that and the website will pop up and it'll just give you a little bit more information. But also just a great resource as far as questions, anything that you might want to know about the tour. As I mentioned, travel tips or anything along those lines. So book early and save $200. The deposit is $9.99 with insurance. So you do have to buy insurance at the time of your deposit. We are going to give you until July 1st to get 100% of that money back, including the insurance. After July 1st, the only thing that you can lose is the cost of the insurance, which is $3.99. You can cancel for any reason up until 24 hours and get everything back less the $3.99. But up until this July 1st date, you can actually even get your insurance back. Your final payment will be due on September 8th. Your total price, land, air, taxes, $33.99 for a double. The single price is $38.99 if you are interested in that. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and so I can look at the chat room, and feel free to actually unmute if you're interested in that, and I'll be happy to take any questions. Get in this chat room real quick. All right, we got a couple of questions here. That's from Leah, so no questions as far as here. The presentation's open to the public. Please feel free to share with your friends, but go ahead and unmute if you have any questions. I think David and Alice are waving their hand. I'll start with them.
Yeah, it's Alice. And is there any chance we could sail over there instead of fly?
Not on this
Share
particular tour. Unfortunately, this is a fly there tour. I'll be candid. A lot of the cruises, when you do travel to something like this, they just don't explore the land aspect of it as much. And you miss a lot of what we're doing on this tour. A lot of the cruises tend to kind of stay around the islands because they can't accommodate all the ins and outs. This is purely a land tour.
Which airline or which airline?
So that's always a very popular question. We work with all of the major airlines, and as flights get released. So right now there's very limited flights because, airlines are just waiting for this to all open up, which, as I mentioned, Greece has already said May 1st. So as names come in for this tour, we immediately start shopping all of the major airlines. We have contracts with all of them. So we don't have specific airlines that we use. We try to get you the best schedule as they are released. So we won't know until we get a little bit closer in.
And Kenny, I'm going to interject. If
Yeah.
you do have a particular airline that you like to fly with because you want to make sure you're getting your points and all that, if you'll let me know that, I can make sure that Colette can price that out for you. And when you register, it's important to go on and provide your Sky Miles number or your Delta Miles number so that we can include that, so you will get credit for those miles when you're flying.
Great. Yep. Absolutely.
Martha, I think you had your hand raised.
Yes. I was very interested to see if this would be the Greek Islands tour, and I see that it's not.
Mhm.
Is there any way to tag on one of the islands tours to the beginning or the end? I know Colette does those.
We do. And really one of the main reasons is this particular time of the year, the islands, a lot of the local things are shut down. And that is because it's a very touristy, seasonal type part when you're going to Mykonos, Santorini. So on this particular tour, we do not. However, if you are interested in doing that out on your own, without a doubt, we can get you the information, the ferry, and rebook your flight back without a doubt. And I took the ferry, beautiful to sail the islands and see it. However, from a touring aspect, this is kind of a shoulder type season. There's just not a lot going on the islands at this time of the year.
Thank you.
But
Kenny,
yes, we can arrange that for you.
Kenny, can you talk about the weather and what it's like during this time of year?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a popular question. First of all, it's always 70 and sunny everywhere we go at Colette. No, it is going to be a little bit cooler. I will say that we went in April, which I would kind of attribute to a close, like kind of late October. Which this is in November, so it'll be a little bit cooler. During the day, there's still plenty of sunshine and still pretty good weather. You're probably talking low 60s. And in the evening, it's going to get into the low 50s. So you are definitely going to want to bring a jacket, something a little bit warmer. But to me, my favorite weather is 55 to about 70 when I'm touring. That way I can have a light jacket. It's not too hot, not too cold type of situation. And that's exactly what you're going to be seeing during this type of weather on this tour. Now, I will say, as you get up into some of these mountains and some of the areas, it's obviously going to be a little bit cooler. When we're up on the mountains and things like that, even getting up to the Acropolis and the Parthenon, where the wind can be picking up a little bit. So you definitely want to bring a jacket just for those kind of experiences.
Okay. I think, Kathy, did you have a question?
Yeah, Kenny, how many people are typically on the tour? Is it just the Life Quest group or is it another group? So how many people are touring at one time?
Yeah, so we max this out at 44 people, but we usually average around 35 on this particular tour. We'll have to wait and see, but we are keeping about 35% of the motor coach open as of now. But on average, you're probably talking now, whether it's just a Life Quest crew or not, that depends on how many people sign up and see this video and go from there. If we can fill it, by gosh, let's do that. But if not, let's say there's 15 to 20, we will meet with another smaller group to continue on in the tour.
And on a typical day, do you start real early in the morning or?
5 a.m. We get you up out of there. We don't get you home till midnight.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Now, we understand that, the days that we travel, when you're going from a city to another city, those tend to be a little bit earlier because we have travel time and we may want to make sure that you can see it. But on average, we're trying to keep that 8 to 9 a.m. start. We're not going to wear you out, as you can see throughout the presentation. There's a good balance of leisure time. If we're in a city more than one night, we're going to leave those evenings open so that, hey, maybe I don't want to eat dinner, I just want to go lay down. You can go do that. Or if you want to go explore out on your own and kind of customize your own experience, you have the ability to do that. But we definitely understand that everybody kind of operates differently as far as getting up and after them. I have some people who say, wear me out, I want to see everything. And then I have some people who go, whoa, I want to kind of relax. And so we really try to balance that out. The earliest days tend to be the ones that we're traveling though, which then you just get on the motor coach and,
Are they pretty
rest.
comfortable?
Do
What
what?
are motor coaches like?
Yeah, we use motor coaches within 4 years. So we're constantly updating. We have very nice, very comfortable motor coaches. And again, the ability to spread out so everybody can relax and enjoy those.
Thank you.
I'm done.
No.
Go ahead. David Alice?
Yeah. Are you on the trip?
I am not. We'll have a tour manager that specializes in this trip. I would love to go with you. However, I have a sales team that they're going to make me stay behind and run.
Okay. How much money would be due now, and by when?
So you have until the seat reduction date is going to be 6 months from the departure. So May, we have to get our names and deposits in. The deposit with insurance is $9.99 per person.
Okay.
And then you don't have to make your final payment until 60 days before departure. So that'll be on September 8th.
We had
So would
another
that-
question.
Would that deadline be May 7th?
Yes, that is correct.
Go
But
ahead.
you have until July 1st to get everything back, including the insurance. So that's a separate date. So if you put your deposit down and on, June 30th, you decide you don't want to go, you call us, you get 100% of your money back, including the insurance.
Okay. He said
How long a flight is it to Greece?
Depending on, I always talk about from the East Coast because, well, you're going out of Little Rock and let's be candid, you're going to connect. I do it every week when we fly. It was roughly around 9 to 9.5 hours from the East Coast.
9.5 hours. Okay.
It always depends on where we connect through. I think Linda has a
I
question.
think Linda's, yeah.
Yeah.
Linda, I'm going to get you to unmute. There you go.
You can tell I'm not experienced at Zoom meetings.
You're
Hey,
fine.
Nope, we run these all the time.
Very active, but I do not see any teenagers in this group, so I'm wondering about the activity level.
Yeah, I mean, the activity level is pretty low. There are a couple of experiences, especially when you're talking about the Acropolis and the Parthenon and some of these. That is probably the most amount of walking that you're going to do that day. Across the board, this is a pretty low activity level. We drive to most of the places we're able to get there. However, there are a couple areas because you just can't. And I remember going to the Acropolis and we were at the bottom of the hill and we had to, we made it very leisurely pace. We didn't, hurry up by any means. We stop along the way and the tour manager kind of tells you some things. But, on something like this, I'll usually tell people, if you're used to getting your 10,000 steps, or you're going about your daily business and walking and doing your things, you'll be fine. And of course, if you don't want to do any of those, that's fine. The tour manager understands and they'll let you know each day, hey, this one's going to be about this long and you can kind of go from there. But just because of the unique locations of a couple of these, there is some days that you walk a little bit, but across the board, it's a pretty low activity level.
We don't have to climb up that rock
Ruth?
mountain to get to the monastery.
No climbing up the rocks. Nope, we're going to drive you right up there. So no worries there. It was once inaccessible. Now it is accessible. Ruth, I think you had a question.
Yes, our favorite travel companions are a couple, they're our cousins, they live in California.
Yeah.
So if we decided to sign up and they wanted to come, would the price be the same for them as it is for us?
Pretty much. We'll have to
Because of
double
the air-
check. Yeah, we'll have to double check the gateway, which I'll be candid, we contract with every gateway. It's usually within $50 to $100, and it might be even cheaper if they're going out of a major gateway. But it'll be in the ballpark within about $100 or so.
Okay, thanks.
David and Alice.
And Alice, I think you have another question.
Yep.
Yes, it was about the monastery. I wanted to be sure I heard right. Can we, it was not accessible, but now it is. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, we have a route that we take to get you up there, so you don't have to worry about, we're not going to have you, mountain climbing or rock climbing or anything along those lines. We're going to get you right up there and take care of it for you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? COVID, the tour itself. Again, you can go in early, you can stay late. If you want to go to the islands, we can help facilitate that for you. You'll kind of be on your own when you're on the islands, but themselves, just the ferry rides alone are a lot of fun. But we'll handle your flight, your booking, everything from beginning to end, and make it as easy as possible.
Well, I'm ready to bring you the deposit. Do we give that to Gina?
Kenny, can we still do it the way we've done it before, where they can bring stuff up and I can just submit it to you guys?
Absolutely.
Or would y'all like them to do everything? Okay, yes.
You can do
David,
it.
yes. I'll reach out to you and we'll make arrangements to get all the paperwork from you and your deposit.
Yep.
So it sounds like we don't have anything to lose, really, because up to the last minute we can get out, and it all depends, in our case, and probably most everybody else, the status of the pandemic. And it seems like right now we're going the right way.
Yes, sir. We sure are. And Greece, like I said,
and David, I will tell you that in a previous tour, we had someone that had signed up and fell and broke, I think it was her shoulder, and had to have surgery. So, she was within the 24 hours and no questions asked. She was refunded everything except her insurance payment. So Colette is very good about honoring what they say. So we have experienced that.
Okay.
You know what the vaccine status is in Greece?
Not yet. So in the middle of all of this, the one thing that we're trying to do is finalize what that looks like. So for example, we have greenlit some tours to Costa Rica. And Lily, I know you've had your hand up, so I'll get you right after this.
How much is the insurance?
$399. So the vaccine, for some of the scenarios that we're looking at, I'll give you Costa Rica, for example. You have to have a test before coming back into the US, because as of now, that's what we've stipulated. So as a group, we're doing a test so everybody can have it and they can come back. Quite frankly, they'll change from now to by the time this tour operates, which we will continue to communicate with each and every one of you. So for instance, the CDC has come out and said, if you're vaccinated and you're exposed to someone who has a positive test,
yes,
you don't have to quarantine.
But they're welcome.
Yeah, you don't have to quarantine. So you can continue to travel on. You don't have any concerns. You're good to go. If by then you're ready to go and they say, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to take a test, then you're good to go. I will say that a lot of these countries are probably going to ask for proof of vaccination. So please hang on to those cards. And as we kind of finalize what this is going to look like, we're going to communicate to everybody, exactly what you need to do. Here's the steps, and we're going to help everybody with that. So.
Lily, do you have more? And then Martha, I see you next. Lily, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
I feel like she's hanging from the Golden Gate Bridge down there.
Oh, good. You got me unmuted. I couldn't do it. For those of us who are less than actively mobile some of the time, can we stay on the bus when other people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Or if you want to get out and just enjoy the city and kind of stroll out on your own, you can do that. Whatever it is, we have that happen a lot. Tour managers will say, okay, we're going to end this walking tour at said spot. And you're going, I'm going to be on the motor coach. I'll meet you there. Great. You meet them right there. It's your tour, so you can do whatever you want. The only thing I ever tell anybody is don't miss the day that we're traveling to a different city. Just make sure you're on the motor coach for that. So
That's right. Okay, Martha?
Yes, before I pay a deposit, I would like to get some more information about the extension and make sure that that would work. Who do I need to talk to about it? The last time I did something like this and there was someone at Colette that I talked to directly, but I'll talk to anybody, whoever can help me with that.
yeah,
Is it still Andrea?
yeah,
Dominican?
it's still Andrea. Currently she's out right now, but if you want to email even me, Martha,
Okay.
and Lindy can give you my email address, I'll handle it right now and we'll get it to our product team and look at all that for you, and then we'll get it squared away.
Thank you.
I get you taken care of, Martha. All right.
Absolutely.
I think we've got time for about one more question. If Lily has her hand raised.
What was the total tour price? I've forgotten.
So it is $33.99.
$33.90.
Plus $3.99 for the insurance if you opt into that.
And I wanted to let
Kenny, that
people
was a
know.
double, correct?
That is a double. That is
Yeah,
correct.
so Lily, I think you're $38.99 for a single, unless you want to bring
No.
a friend.
I'll be going with someone.
Perfect.
And if you wanted to see Kenny's presentation again, which has the places, the prices, the contact information, this presentation may be viewed on the Life Quest of Arkansas Facebook page. This is our public, open to the public, Life Quest of Arkansas Facebook page, which means other people can see it. You can direct your friends and family in California and beyond to view this presentation from today.
I think I will also go ahead and put this on our website. If you go to our website, there's special events. And if you just kind of scroll down the page, you'll see the information on Greece. And I will also have this video for you to reference.
And the link that I put in the chat room is a great way to see anything as far as travel tips, pricing, and you can even sign up through there. If you don't want to bring in your reservation form to Lindy, you can sign up directly. Either way works. We're going to be very flexible however you want to sign up.
Awesome. Kenny, I just want to thank you so much for bringing us your knowledge in this presentation. And I will just, since y'all are here, I'll give you a little sneak peek. I think Kenny has a treat for us this summer with some more tour options. Well, actually presentations, but this year we are doing the Greece trip. So anyway, my email is Harrell, it's HARRELL at lifequestofarkansas.org. Feel free to call up here, email me with any questions. Some of you I've worked with before, so you know I try to answer all the questions, and if I don't have the answers, I'll get them for you. So David and Alice, I will contact you, and Martha, I will get you more information. All right, thanks guys. Let us know if you have questions.
Appreciate you.
Bye.